Hello my beautiful Hammerhead and welcome back to another Dawnbringer Crusade lore video. So, before I begin, this is part 1 of probably 3 parts because this book, Hounds of Chaos, and 2 short stories on the Warhammer community page is just too much. Not only so much that I can't do it in one day to compile everything into it, but this, An Oath Sworn unto Vermin, the short story, it's short story number 29, is right before the book. Then we're gonna go through half of the story. Next video will be the other half of the story, and the third video would be what is at the end. And then again, when we go down here, it will be the last part, the Hour of Ruin. This is the culmination of what happens everywhere. The sad part in this short story is there isn't that much happening. We only get to know Gunnar and his followers a little bit. Gunnar, by the way, is a fantastic character. He's really likable. And I really mean that. It's only just this part here enough. Gunnar speared his daughters gloating as he continued to warm by the flames. They're already dead, Singri. Mocking them won't change anything. As her riders dismounted to join the pillaging, Singri patted her snorting steed's neck and made no secret of her disdain. We won, our enemies died. There's nothing wrong with celebrating that. Celebrate survival, Gunnar said, frowning. Celebrate protecting what's yours and seeing kin again. That's what matters. Fire's eager crackle cut through the quiet. Eventually, Gunnar sighed. You did well, daughter. Oh, such a good character. I'm really keen to read the book. I still wasn't able to. But the other thing that's happening here, of course, the Skaven are already here. They have a big warpstone glowing rock with them, and they are hammering it down into one of the nexus points, and that's basically it. That's everything that's happening here. So yeah. We're gonna go straight into my notes because that's what I'm gonna read from right now. So strap in and yeah. So Dawnbringer 6, Hounds of Chaos. At the end of book 5, before we forget that one, the Axian side, we're now in Embergard. The Nighthorns were defeated, Embergard is safe, Pontifex Zenestra is unconscious, fortifications are built, the Realm Gate is secured, and heralds dispatched that Embergard is being built into a stronghold of the God King. Also, many people are paranoid of skittering in the dark, earthquakes and other usual Skaven stuff in the area. In Ghyran, on the other side, the city of Verdigris is going strong, but Crethusa and her followers are leaving with a warning. The warning, again, very unnecessary as we're still in the Warhammer world of the mortal realms. And a great darkness is coming and will smash against the newly built walls. Thanks for the warning, Deus Ex Crethusa, the name I dubbed her with. So, right now in Hammerhal, so this is the point where we begin in book 6, unnamed seer told a prophecy that was, again, not so shocking to anyone here in our real life, because, again, it's the Warhammer universe. From blood in loyal faith, glad given, one city shall rise and one shall be riven. And anyone who also uttered those words got thrown into prison. That was my part. So, again, not really that surprising for us, because we already had the hints at the end of this video, of the last video with the short story, and I was right with that one. Oh, by the way, I totally forgot. Here in the corner, if you're on PC, there will be a link for the whole playlist of, well, everything Dawnbringer Crusades. So this time, somehow, the story begins in Ghyran, which feels really weird because book 1 to 5 we started in Akshi, but that is the world we live in right now. So the newly found city of Verdigris is of course immediately under attack by Abraxia and her followers, one of which is named Korvac Skullsplitter. Maybe that name is important later in the story, I just noted it. So the defenders are of course under the command of former Marshal, now commander of the city, Isla Thorian, one of the greatest characters here in the Dawnbringer saga. And Verdigris was by its nature easily fortified, as it was bordered by a mountain range on 3 sides and of course the realm gate that looked like a giant white flower. Multiple pools of Aqua Ghyranis were also discovered and bolstered the health and the seeds they brought from Hammerhar that sprouted weeds as thick as a Dawner and as hard as steel. That was also coming in handy. That was, by the way, the seeds they fired into the Ozark Bone Reaper's gate. But yeah, okay, so Abraxia's host smashed through the outer defenses, destroyed guardian idols and brought flame to the city. Isla, on the other hand, was just standing there, stricken with inaction. Over the course of the crusade, she used her druidic jade magic, and it came with a price, as her body changed more and more, and her skin became more like bark and her vision was filtered through a haze of green. So yeah, she became more and more like a Sylvaneth. Because under her armor she became more like a living tree, just in so much pain that moving was really difficult. With that in action came desperation. As she watched the Hounds of Chaos come closer by the second, the wall of bullets that was directed at the black armored giants didn't slow them down at all. I mean, it's the Vanguard of the First Circle, what do you expect? But there were 2 reasons Isla did not fall into despair. The first reason was only audible to her. It was a horn in the background, the call of the wild, so you probably already know what that means. The second reason was a little bit more tangible. It was a force of cavaliers, the Knights of the Golden Briar. And the Knights of the Golden Briar were a little bit special, let's just say it that way. We have the matriarch of a handful of K-Knights that were left by Krethusa. Her name is Raikara, and she discovered that the taint of Usharan lays on those knights, so they were isolated, so that nothing really happens to the rest of the citizens. But their time has come for a glorious last charge into death and destruction. For Abraxia, Sigmar and all of his followers were just a bump in the road and on the path to glory, not like Archaon's obsessive hatred against the Thunder God. She and her Vanguard crashed into the Knights of the Golden Briar, but fate is cruel, even to the foremost champion of the Ever-Chosen. The tainted blood of a Knight of the Golden Briar splashed not only onto the ground, but on Abraxia's tongue as well, and so the taint of Usharan befell her. And she's not, well, the Grand Gourmet of Slaanesh, so Glutos is... he's resilient against poisons and other stuff. She's not. So, yeah, stuff is happening to her, you can already imagine. So as Isla watched the countercharge fail, something happened, of course. The leader of the Dark Champions thrashed like mad and laid low not only the Sigmarites, but also her own Vanguard as well. This was the time everyone bore witness to the haunts of war. The evergreen hunt arrived. To be fair, Belthanos and the Kern of Hunters and every Sylvaneth in the area did not arrive for the mortals, but to enact vengeance upon the slaves to darkness as they felled trees to build siege engines and just off spite. The attack of the Sylvaneth caught the Chaos Worshippers unprepared in the back. Abraxia, still under the influence of Usharan's tainted blood, snarled and turned from Verdigris to crush those foolish treekin. But not all of the Vanguard were happy with that decision. She's not the Ever-Chosen, and the hatred of some against the Sigmarites was burning hotter than their devotion and loyalty. So they were divided, the Riders of Ruin were caught and surrounded. Isla Thorian, in the meantime, knew that this time the Evergreen Hunt would not let her stay. Whatever that means, I really don't know right now. I'm not that far in the story. Just a few Dawners saw her collapse and lose consciousness. So we have Pontifex Zenestra unconscious and Isla Thorian also unconscious right now. So even surrounded and overwhelmed, the Swords of Ruin showed their martial skill and broke free to follow Abraxia, because realizing what was happening to her, she retreated. Like always, the infliction of Ushoran's blood is shifting reality in the eyes of the Tainted, but it was Archaon's gift to Abraxia, the spear Gorbolga, that reminded her of who she was. Using blood magic, she communicated with Archaon, who himself was in the middle of an enormous plan, so with the Skaven, and he also saw the taint upon her. He ordered her to cleanse her blood with the fire of the Liar gods, so Tyrion and Teclis. Verdigris was safe for now. The Ever-Chosen ordered his Varengard, so her, Abraxia, and the First Circle to destroy the Phoenix Temples in Ghyran. Speaking of which, the Phoenix Temples, Phoenix Temple foremost is in the city of Sigmar, Phoenicium, far to the south of the island of Verdigris, so everything that is happening right now in the Dawnbringer campaign on the Ghyran side is on the island of Verdigris, which is massive. But yeah, they even have to go further south than Hammerhal Ghyra. And yeah, so Phoenicium, really important, the city of rebirth. There are rumors that conspiratorial elves are spreading, even though the elves are the ones that wants to stop the upcoming doom. But they are so aloof, they are arrogant, they are not talking to anyone, which again is a bad quality in allies. But the city has a really long history, even before the Realmgate Wars, before the Sigmarites built the city, it was known as Elf Grove. So even in the Age of Chaos, there was a Phoenix Temple there. So the temple was built around the fire of the god beast, the Phoenix's flame, and so the Phoenix Guard was created. And unlike in other cities of Sigmar, like in Akshi, in the Great Parch, where the memory of Morathi's betrayal in Anvilgard was still fresh in the minds of the Sigmarites, here in the Phoenicium, the Phoenix Guard held positions in the Grand Conclave, and everyone was like, yep, those are the Phoenix Guard. But over the last few months, the decisions made by the elves were somehow troubling, leaving surrounding temples vacant, draining resources, and so on. Torelith, the High Anointed of the temple, oversaw everything from crusades being sent out and citizens relocated to the outer rings. Only the Stormcast Eternals of the Lions of Sigmar were allowed to stay in their Storm Keep, the Golden Castrum, which was pretty near to the temple. But as you might think, the humans and the Duardin were not amused with them being relocated away from the inner city. No more Anvil Guards! A whisper that echoed throughout the city was murmured by almost everyone. And well, that the elves were also relocated was not being seen as a sign of necessity, but as diversion from the bigger scheme of the elves. The last nail was hammered into the coffin as the gates to the city were opened to the bright war host of the Lumineth Realm Lords. The Lumineth Realm Lords were led by Lord Regent Mineath, so he commanded the combined forces, and he also rarely talked to the Grand Conclave. He saw the city as more of a future battleground and left diplomacy to our most favorite twins in the Lumineth saga. It was Elania and Elathor. They were explaining that they are here for the sake of the Ur-Phoenix, and well, that was basically everything they told them. That, of course, did not soothe the members of the conclave, because it's not really an explanation. Because little did they know that the twins are on a quest to retrieve a burning feather and return it to his original pyre so it can be reborn. That in itself was a puzzle given to them by the Law Seeker, which probably, now that I think about it, was one of the Law Seekers here in the Lumineth novels, the blind one. I forgot the name, I'm sorry. If you know what I mean, please leave it in the comments, because I sadly don't have the time to stop recording, look it up, and then do and edit and stuff. So, but yeah, sorry. Maybe one of the Law Seekers we already know. So, yeah, puzzle because there are no burning feathers of the Ur-Phoenix. But yeah, the skies turned crimson, the mood shifted in an instant as hateful storms ripped the skies apart. And everyone was like, ah, that was the thing the elves are preparing for. Because the attack of Abraxia and her host came unexpectedly. Ley lines were drawn of power, warband leaders were gathered, and reality was in a fickle state. A temporary realm gate was formed with the energy of the ley lines and countless sacrifices. Only Archaon's chosen were able to ride the edge of reality, and you can basically think of they descended upon the city from the sky, and yeah, well, that's it. They wrote magic down on black fire and hateful unlight. And without missing a beat, the hurricane formations of the Lumineth loosed volley after volley of bolts and arrows. The mages manipulated cyclones to send the riders of ruin crashing into each other, and the phoenixes ripped into them like the aerial predators they were. But Abraxia's riders saw this only as a gauntlet that they have to, well, get through. They just have to get past this nuisance. High Anointed Torelith attacked Abraxia, but she was just too much for him. She killed the Phoenix and sent it and its rider on a one-way trip to the ground. Inside the temple, our twins Elathor and Elania prepared to defend the holy fire. The slaves to darkness were not without strategy, however. They defiled holy sites throughout the city and tightened their hold and corrupted the very earth. The fighting was fierce and brutal. The defenders, trying to get as many citizens to safety, did not hold back. Everything was really planned out by the Lumineth, but it was just too much. There is a reason why Abraxia is the leader of the first circle of the Vanguard, and the lines of the defenders broke and shattered. Abraxia killed the Lord Regent, and his sacrifice was the last kill necessary to break the wards that surrounded the temple, so it was just, the doors are open now, let's go in. Inside the temple, the last guardians of the flame were prepared to fight to the last, breaking their vows of silence. With doom on their doorsteps, the elves sang, Phoenix Guard and Lumineth alike, ancient songs of death and rebirth. Abraxia left her Vanguard and the elves, irgendwhere, sorry, casual German here, somewhere in the background, in her search for the flame. What she found was a lone figure meditating, and it was High Anointed Torelith. You remember his phoenix being killed by Abraxia. They crashed into the temple and into the fire of the sacred god spark. So he just absorbed it, and the fire made him what he is now, because wings of fire manifested on his back as he leapt towards the Chaos Champion, his form changing more and more to resemble a phoenix, which is really awesome, by the way. But now he was the very thing standing between Abraxia and her salvation. So Torelith, by the way, 10 out of 10 character here. They fought hard, but ultimately she prevailed, skewering him on her spear. The fires of the phoenix tried to burn the corruption from the flesh of its host, so his form getting more and more, again, like the phoenix god he is. But to Abraxia, he was, let's just say, he was a kebab fresh from the fire. She bit into his flesh and devoured him alive. And yeah, fleeing from the carnage and destruction, Elania and Elathor watched the towers crumble to dust as the shadows engulfed the city. In Elania's hands, a small light flickered. An ember saved from the shrine. It was all that remained. All that had to survive the long road back to Hysh. So that was still a lot. And again, that was just the Ghyran side. And after that, we still have not only the action side, but also everything that happens in the other realms as well. And not every realm, just a couple of realms are as an example, but also what happens with the characters in here and so on. There is a lot. So again, there is a reason why I'm going to separate this maybe into 3 parts. So maybe Monday we will have 2 videos, the faction focus for the Seraphon and part 3 of Dawnbringer Book 6 and the ending of 3rd edition's storyline. So yeah, but that was it. Please leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section down below. I'm really keen to know what you have to say. And while you're down there, please remember to do all the YouTube stuff, because hitting buttons is not only fun. Why? Because that way we can build a bigger community and talk more wargaming almost every day. And by that, I of course mean like and subscribe. And if you want, you can support me with the links in the description box down below. Otherwise, have a great day, my friend. Stay fantastic, stay hydrated, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, bye, bye.